Good morning, everyone. I'm happy to be here. This is Shitake News. I'm happy to show you the new layout. I'm trying out something new. I'm trying to see what works. I really like this style. It seems more fluid and fun. But, I'm an amateur. I'm learning everything via YouTube, which is fun, but it's rewarding. It just takes a lot of effort. All right, let's go over some of the articles for today. Let's start off with Young Man Won't Help Clean. And this was interesting to me because there's an article out there about how helpful and how young millennial men are very accepting of things, but they still won't help with some of the more feminine roles. Now, the article is very, very, very biased. It's complaining that the jobs that men that are assigned to men pay more than jobs that were typically assigned to females, and that seems kind of biased because they list engineering and business. Anybody can get into those fields. There's no longer a stigma or not stigma, but there's no longer a reason why whoever is interested can't join one or the other. So the article is biased, but this concept is, I like it because I thought it was fun to talk about because I have seen around in Japan that some of the traditional things that men would be interested in before, they're no longer as interested as they used to be. Like, for instance, cars. When I was growing up, cars were what you strive to earn and to get and to drive and to enjoy and to work on. And I enjoy working in cars. I think with enough time and the right tools, there's really nothing I can't fix when it comes to cars or anything around the house. And that skill has been lacking, and I can't seem to understand why. Fast cars don't appeal to young men anymore. I guess that's a good thing, but there was an ingenuity of the generation I come from that you can fix things even if nobody told you how, or even if you had no clue what you're doing, you were willing to risk fingers and a little blood, sweat, and tears to figure it out. And that's died away. I wonder why. But it seems that no matter how much we grow and become accepting of one another, there's some things that still won't interest us. And I guess cleaning is one of those. And being clean is important to me, but I have to admit that the things I considered messy are not at the same standards as everyone else. Excuse me. I'm fighting a cold, if you can't tell. But this is me just ranting that some of the new generations are accepting of everything, but they're not trying to learn skills outside of even the traditional skills. Are not trying to learn those. So cooking and cleaning, I think, are very important, and it shouldn't be assigned to just women, especially cooking. You can't have a healthy child if you can't cook. That's just an opinion of mine. If for instance, I have young ones, and my young ones eat everything. Not because it's me coming down with thunder, but because the food's generally good. So I don't know what even the youngest one doesn't particularly like shrimp, but he'll still devour a plate in a heartbeat. It just won't be as fast as it would be something else he enjoys. I think cooking is an important skill that should be passed from mother to son or daughter. This is important and paramount to a child's upbringing. So I don't think that should be limited to only women. I think it should be a lot. It should be encouraged that everyone tries, or every gender gives it a go. But that's just my thoughts on that. Let's go back to the next articles. Ba-bum. Now the other one, Flynn's. Well, he was General Flynn. He's guilty, or he pled guilty, but I've looked at his interview with the FBI. That's the reason he's guilty. It's not because he did something outside of the interview. It's just his statements were worded in the inappropriate manner, and he's gonna stick to the guilty verdict and let them revise his case. And I think that's a smart move. I don't think he did anything wrong. I think he was set up to be trapped. I think they asked him questions like, if you answer this way, you can get a different response. And he'd answered in a certain manner, and then they just said, well, now you just lied because that differs from what you said earlier. So it was that type of situation that just seems fishy. And some of the paperwork was drawn up after so much time had passed. So it wasn't like immediately during or after the interview. It was after the interview itself was brought into question that the paperwork was drawn up, and that seems shady. It's like, well, what did you ask him? Well, let me write up what I think I asked him, or what would make him guilty, and that needs to be clarified. And I'm glad there's investigations. Investigations are good things when there's an innocent man who could possibly be accused of something he didn't do. So I wish him the best of luck, and I hope his the inquiry yields results. And I think he's going to be innocent. I have, and even if he is proven, guilty, but he really, it feels unjust. I think the White House will probably step in and have his back. But yeah, I'll keep an eye on his case as it develops. But I'm looking forward to seeing him come out as innocent, I hope. Next step is, let's go back to the next article. I think I might make a longer video for each one of these, because some of these I can talk for a lot longer than I have been. I'm trying to keep it short to like 2-3 minutes so you can get on with your life, and I can give you some of the highlights. And I'm trying to put all the articles in one tab where you can just go through them and look at what I've been reading, so we can get on the same page. Now, my advice is always to look into it for yourself. Find out as much information as you possibly can from every source available, whether it's corrupt or not. Doesn't matter. Get information. The more you know, the better. Bernie is up ahead in Texas and Nevada. That is a big deal. I believe Bloomberg is up in Florida, which is also a big deal. But Bernie's a front runner, and it's becoming more evident. I don't know how the establishment's going to handle that. The old school Democrats, the 90s Democrats, even voters, I don't know how receptive they're going to be to Bernie. I mean, he has a very strong following, but it's not big. It's a very small group of people who are really, really dedicated towards him. If he does not win, how are voters going to react? Is it if he doesn't win because he's cheated? I have to say I'm going to side with Bernie. If he doesn't win because the establishment knows that he's going to lose in the landslide in a general election, then he's going to be cheated for the greater good. A lot of questions come up when I think about Bernie. But yeah, I don't think he's going to win. But will he be cheated before he even gets to that part? Who knows? I'm curious to see how this develops. But he is up in Nevada, and he is up in Texas, and those two are coming up here soon. So we'll keep it. We'll always follow up on the election up until the actual election. So good luck, Bernie. Hopefully you win or lose fair, in a fair manner. Next up is Avanatti. Now, this gentleman was thinking about running for president, and now he's been evicted. I mean, not evicted, but he's been found guilty. He could serve up to 46 years. He was trying to blackmail, basically, Nike, trying to get money from them for him to be, pay me and I'll be quiet. And this guy's an awful person, in my opinion. The cases he chases, he feels more like a lawyer that chases ambulances trying to get paid. I don't think he's of moral standings, in my opinion. And he's not a very good lawyer. In the end, what's her name? Forget her name. But in the end, she had to pay Donald Trump for all the shenanigans. So, he's not a great lawyer to begin with. I don't want to bring up her name because it's she really need to fade back into the gray. But yeah, he's found guilty, and his sentencing I think is going to be up in June. So we'll see how that turns out. But of course, he's gonna ask for his case to be reviewed. But I do believe he's guilty. He was thinking of running for president, and I kind of get the feeling that he would not be investigated if he was a presidential candidate. So, because they would be like, oh, they're interfering with the election. But he might actually be guilty. So I'm glad he didn't run, because that would just add more scrutiny to this wild election cycle that we're already having. But yeah, good luck tasting justice. And yeah, good luck. That's all I can say. But yeah, I feel like morals in the end always catch up with you. If you did something, if you did right or wrong, in the end it all catches up with you. If you're a good person, consistently, then in the end I think that catches up with you in a good way. Now, this was a shock to me. Two stories. A meteor crashes into a factory in India and leaves a 20-foot crater. And another warning from NASA about a potential hazardous, asteroid floating around. It's gonna fly by the world, but it'll be pretty far. It'll be about 3.6 million miles away, which is close considering how big other asteroids get. But we should be safe. But the whole idea that things are crashing into the world, and now this asteroid that's a hazardous is the size of the tower in Dubai, but it's enough. And what I mean by enough is it's enough to end everything. Everyone, there will be nothing. It will be a nuclear winter. The world will be surrounded in a cloud of smoke and ash. The sun won't come through, and everything will freeze. And it will be like that for thousands of years. We will not survive. And that thought is scary. But we are getting to the point where we can kind of see these things coming and we can prepare. I honestly hope NASA and this new founded Space Force come up with solutions to these problems. Or at least ideas. I want to have the conversations of what if, and I want to have an answer. We could do this. So the universe is merciless. That's a merciless universe. That it doesn't care how long it doesn't care how good, how bad. The universe has no morals, no mercy, no reason. It just does things. And when these things happen, it doesn't matter really what you do or how you feel, unless we think of a way to stop these issues, that they're going to happen, and we need to be ready for that. So yeah, I honestly hope we're investing in trying to find solutions to these problems. Next up, my final one. Now, this was the thing that caught my attention the most. Stocks are up 50%. 50% since Trump took office. That's a lot. But how much did you make from that? Odds are most of us it's going to be nothing. Well, who am I to invest? Well, the White House is trying to make changes to help you invest. I believe taxes, there's too many taxes. There's too much taxes on people. So any chance to take some off or to remove taxes from the person or from a family, I consider it a good thing, a great thing. And they have plans to try to reduce the amount of, or cut altogether the taxes they take from your earnings. Now, I think they're still going to tax how much you invest, but they're going to remove the taxes from the earnings that you make from whatever you invested. So if you invested $1,000, they'll tax you on that, but you would have earned $500 since Trump was elected, just giving you a roundabout number, and they would have taken a cut from that amount, the $500 that you would have earned. And they're trying to avoid that now, and I think that's good. I mean, if it's good enough for the wealthy to 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 put their funds, their money into. Why shouldn't the average Joe put money into it? And I think this is a good idea. I mean, why shouldn't we have more, or why shouldn't we put our money where it grows, not just, in a savings account that may or may not yield 3%, 2%. This is 50% in 3 years. It's a big slice of the pie, and I think the amount that the local people, the average Joe, has, it was 63% of the stocks we owned as normal Joes, and now it's down to 50%. So I'd like to see that go up by a lot. People are talking about Google making a ton of money and Amazon making billions, trillions almost, and Apple's being worth a ton of money. But none of us have any. We don't have a dog in the fight. To say, we don't have a horse in the race. That should change. I think rather than giving us the opportunity, the incentive to invest, to make something out of our money, to earn more, is a good thing. Young people, especially high school students, need to be educated on taxes, on savings, on how to make money even while you sleep. Because as of right now, we're learning about science, which is good, and we're learning about home ec and wood shop, and those things are good skills. But rather than doing calculus, which I don't use on my day-to-day life, it'd be nice to learn about taxes and how much they take. Because I think taxes are, the less we know about it, the more they can rob us. They tax you when they pay you. They tax you when you spend it. They tax you when you give it. They tax you when in your house. They tax everything that you do is taxed in some way, manner, or form. And you have no say in it. And how it gets spent, you have less of a say in it. I feel like we need to do research to help this. I feel like we need to do that. I have feelings, and I'm going to spend your money. And I'm going to call it government funded when it really isn't. It's your money being spent in all these projects. So I believe taxes, we're tax heavy right now. So any chance they can cut and give us a chance to earn money is a good thing. I don't know why anybody didn't try this. I know it's an election year, and usually during election years, everybody is doing their best to appeal to the voters. But this one is one of those ideas that actually gets me excited. I'll leave it at that. Thank you very much for joining me. I'm sorry it's so late. I've been trying to remodel the website so that the YouTube channel post the videos on the top page, and it's done automatically, but I'm learning step by step, so do forgive me for being about 2 hours late. Have a good afternoon and enjoy your day. Good night.